Good evening, my fellow Americans. What I'd like to talk to you today is about the speech Governor Palin gave at the Iowa Freedom Summit. I was a little disturbed with the introduction that Governor Palin received from Representative Steve King. Every speaker that I saw, and I didn't see them all, but the person that was introducing them sat down and gave a myriad of their accomplishments. When Representative King came out and talked about Governor Palin, he talked about when he first heard her being selected for vice president when he was over in Kuwait. And then he went on to say that a couple of her accomplishments was selling the jet on eBay and also the stopping the bridge to nowhere. Now, true, she did those, but with a long list of Governor Palin's accomplishments, they were the last two things that should have been used. Actually, I think it was disgraceful. The introduction, I believe that Representative King should have done his homework a little bit more. I've always said that Governor Palin's record of accomplishment is the second biggest secret in this country. The only thing that's above her is President Obama's record and his life, that he has everything sealed. So with that, what I'd like to do is give an introduction, and I call this the introduction that never was. So I don't have a podium, so forgive me, but I'm going to read it off to you. The introduction that never was. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the distinct honor to introduce the next speaker. This speaker is a mayor, cut property taxes by 75%, along with eliminating personal property and business inventory taxes. Infrastructures were made to the roads and the sewers. In 2008, the current mayor at that time credited this former mayor's 75% property tax cuts and infrastructure improvements with bringing 50,000 shoppers a day to her small town. That's 50,000 shoppers a day. If you can remember, President Obama on national TV said, while laughing, his shovel-ready jobs were not as shovel-ready as he thought. They were infrastructure jobs. Maybe the president should have consulted this former mayor on how to do that. As governor, she earned a 93% approval rating, the best in the country at that time. Pollsters said her strength was her independence and was completely nonpartisan. A Democratic chairman, let me repeat, a Democratic chairman at the time credited this governor with working across party lines on issues of agreement. Her first legislative action after taking office was to push for a bipartisan ethics reform bill. This legislation became law, and this governor remained determined to clean up her state's politics. Being just the opposite of Nancy Pelosi, this law actually did drain the swamp of crony capitalism. This governor was a fiscal hawk. Spending between 2007 and 2010 was cut by 9.5%. Federal earmarks were reduced by 80%. In 2007, using the line item veto, cuts of $250 million in superfluous, or as we know it, wasteful spending was achieved. This was followed up in 2008 as 361 line items were vetoed, which reduced proposed spending for 2009 by $80.3 million. By reforming the state pension program from a defined benefit system to a defined contribution system, the state debt liabilities were reduced by 34%. Her fiscal policies left the state with two credit upgrades, from AA to AA Plus in 2008 and AAA in 2010. This governor also put the state checkbook online for her constituents to see how state money was being spent. Now that's real transparency. A $12 billion surplus was obtained through bipartisan legislation called ACES, spearheaded by this governor to get the most out of the state's resources, which were owned by the people, not the state. This governor did not allow lobbyists in her office. Maybe Washington, D.C. should take a hint. a strong supporter of our Constitution, especially our First and Second Amendments. Governor Palin was Commander-in-Chief of the National Guard and shared strategic command over the 49th Missile Battalion, which protects the entire nation from ballistic missile attacks. Unlike other Guard units, it is on permanent active duty, which gave Governor Palin access to briefings on highly classified military issues, homeland security, and counterterrorism. Believe me when I tell you, her stance in defending this nation and doing what needs to be done to stop Islamist terrorists from harming the American people is what the leadership in the White House is totally lacking. Governor Palin would have no problem with that 3 a.m. phone call. Governor Palin has always put the needs of the people she served ahead of party politics. This is just a sample of the achievements of this remarkable woman. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the first woman selected as a candidate to run on a presidential ticket as vice president in the history of the Republican Party, former Governor Sarah Palin. And that's the way I would have done it. Thank you, America. Okay.